The sun rose over the barren plains of Iridian 7, painting the dusty land in shades of red and gold. Elias wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked across his fields. The soil was cracked, dry, and stubborn. Years of trying to grow crops here had worn him down. Every seed seemed to fight against life, and every day felt like a struggle for survival. Supplies from the main colony were scarce, and every grain of food had to be carefully rationed. Yet Elias kept working because he had to. Giving up was not an option. He bent down, examining a small sprout that had finally managed to grow despite the harsh conditions. A weak wind blew dust across his face. He sighed, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on him. Farming here was lonely, exhausting, and often hopeless. But he did it. He had to. Someone had to keep the colony alive. That morning, while he worked, he noticed movement at the edge of the field. A figure emerged from the horizon. At first, he thought it was a traveler, another human perhaps seeking shelter or help. But as the figure drew closer, he saw that it was no human at all. She was tall, with skin that gleamed like dark metal under the sun, and her eyes were glowing amber, sharp and intelligent. Her hair shimmered with a strange faint glow that moved like liquid in the light. Elias froze, unsure whether to be afraid or curious. She stopped a few feet away and bowed slightly. "Human, I need work," she said in broken basic, her voice calm but firm. "I will work your fields. Just feed my hungry children." Elias raised an eyebrow. He had heard stories of aliens in the colonies, but never one like her. And why would she come here to this lonely farm, asking for food for children he had never seen? The human mind wanted to distrust strangers, but something in her tone made him pause. "Hungry children?" he asked cautiously. "Where are they?" "They wait," she replied, pointing toward the distant hills. "I care for them. They need food. I have hands. I can work. I will make your crops grow." Elias studied her. She was not exaggerating her strength. He could see the muscles under her strange metallic skin, and the way she moved showed grace and power. She did not look like someone who would beg if she had another choice. Her pride was intact even in desperation. "Fine," Elias said after a long pause. "I'll give you food. But I warn you, if you try anything, you leave with nothing. Understand?" "I understand," she said, her eyes meeting his without hesitation. "I only want to feed my children." From that day, she became part of the farm. At first, the humans in the colony watched her with suspicion. Her presence was alien and intimidating. She worked harder than anyone had ever seen, bending over rows of crops under the harsh sun, planting seeds, watering fields, and tending every plant with a precision that was almost supernatural. Her fingers were long and strong, but delicate in movement, and she seemed to know exactly how to handle every plant, every seed, as if she understood the language of growth. Elias noticed something strange. Even when the sun was high and the heat unbearable, she did not slow down. Even when the dust storms came and the soil turned to dry powder, she kept working. And in the evenings, she would disappear into the hills, only to return the next morning with more determination. He wondered about her children, and why she risked so much for them. One evening, Elias decided to follow her. He kept a safe distance, careful not to alarm her. She moved with quiet purpose, and eventually, he saw what she had been protecting. Nestled in a small valley, hidden from view, were several small alien children. Their skin was dark like hers, but softer, more fragile. They huddled together, hungry and tired, but their eyes lit up when she arrived. She dropped her bundle of rations, and the children rushed forward, their small hands reaching for the food. Elias watched, amazed. The woman's face softened in a way he had never seen before. She fed each child carefully, making sure they ate enough, checking that none were left behind. Her eyes, which had seemed so sharp and powerful on the farm, now glimmered with tenderness. There was no trick, no scheme, only a mother's care. Over the next few weeks, the crops began to change. Fields that had been barren for years started to show signs of life. Sprouts grew taller and stronger. Vegetables appeared in greater abundance. Even the other colonists began to notice. People whispered among themselves, wondering what kind of magic this woman had. But Elias knew it was no magic. It was patience, skill, and determination, qualities that humans shared but had almost forgotten in this harsh world. The alien woman never asked for praise or attention. She worked silently, focusing on her children and the fields. At night, when the colony slept, she would tell stories to her children in a language Elias could not understand. They would laugh softly, their voices tiny against the wind, and she would smile, a rare and gentle expression. Elias felt a mixture of admiration and unease. The woman had saved his crops, improved the colony's food supply, and yet he sensed that danger lurked beyond the horizon. Word traveled fast in the galaxy. Other alien factions would hear of a mother who could farm better than humans, a woman who could turn barren land into abundance. And some of them would not come to negotiate, they would come to take her by force. One afternoon, a scout from a neighboring sector arrived, breathing heavily. "There's news," he said. "A fleet from her homeworld is coming. They say she was taken, or stolen, from them. They demand her return." Elias felt a cold knot in his stomach. The alien woman had risked everything to help him, to save the colony. And now she might be taken away. He looked toward the fields where she worked under the blazing sun, tending the plants with quiet determination. She had trusted him, and he could not let her be dragged away without a fight. That night, Elias approached her carefully. "They're coming for you," he said softly. "Aliens from your world. They want you back." She did not flinch. She looked at him with those molten eyes, calm, unafraid. "I will not leave. Children hungry. If they come, I will fight. If I must." Elias realized then that she was not just a worker, not just a mother. She was a protector, a warrior in her own right. And he understood something humans often forgot in this galaxy. Courage came in many forms. Strength was not only in weapons or armies, it could be in patience, in skill, in the will to survive for those you loved. The next morning, Elias prepared the colony. They fortified the fields, created barriers, and planned defenses. The alien woman stood beside him, silent but confident. Together they worked, combining human ingenuity with alien skill. The crops were ready, and so were they, not just to feed themselves, but to defend the life they had built. As the first ships appeared on the horizon, Elias glanced at her. She gave him a small nod, almost imperceptible. In that moment he knew they were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for hope, for the promise that even in the harshest worlds, life could thrive when courage and compassion worked together. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in fiery shades, as Elias and the alien woman stood side by side watching the approaching fleet. He felt fear, yes, but also something stronger, determination. She had risked everything for her children, and now he would risk everything to protect her and the colony. And in that quiet moment, amidst the wind and the dust and the promise of battle, a bond formed. A bond not of species, but of trust, respect, and shared purpose. They were no longer just human and alien. They were allies. They were guardians. And together, they would face whatever came next. The morning air on Iridian 7 was tense. The alien fleet appeared on the horizon, dark shapes blotting out parts of the red sky. Elias could feel his heart pounding in his chest, but he did not falter. Beside him, the alien woman stood tall, her amber eyes focused on the approaching threat. Her children huddled quietly behind the natural rock formations she had chosen for their protection, small and fragile-looking, yet brimming with the quiet strength that came from surviving harsh worlds. Elias took a deep breath. "We can't fight them directly. There are too many," he said. "But we can use the land, the crops, the irrigation. Everything we've built can be a weapon if we think carefully." The alien woman nodded. She moved swiftly through the fields, checking the irrigation channels, adjusting soil barriers and planting fast-growing shrubs with thorns that could slow any advance. "They will not take children," she said. Her voice was quiet, but filled with authority. Elias realized this was more than determination. This was instinct. As the first ships landed, the humans and the alien woman were ready. The intruders stepped onto the soil expecting to find an easy capture. They underestimated the bond between humans and aliens, and the strange knowledge that came from living and working together on a hostile planet. At the first sound of attack, the alien woman moved. She didn't wield a weapon. She didn't need to. She led the invaders into the fields, where irrigation ditches had been filled with water and covered with mud traps. Thorny plants sprang from the soil, tangled around their feet, slowing them down. The humans followed her lead, improvising weapons from farming tools and makeshift defenses. Elias could not help but feel awe. Here was a being who had come to him for help, who had only asked for food in exchange for labor, and now she was saving the colony from forces far stronger than any they had imagined. The intruders tried to advance, but every step was met with resistance. The alien woman moved with grace, directing humans and manipulating the land. "Left! Dig here, cover there!" she shouted. Her broken basic was perfectly understood because action spoke louder than words. The humans followed her instructions without question. Small children watched from their hiding place. They were terrified but also proud of their mother. She moved among the defenders, ensuring each person had food, water, and direction. Every order was precise, every movement calculated. It was not just bravery, it was intelligence and strategy. By mid-afternoon, the first wave of intruders had been repelled. Many had fled back to their ships, injured and confused by the resistance. Elias could see the exhaustion on his own people's faces, yet their morale was high. They had learned that courage was contagious and leadership did not require dominance. It required care and guidance. The alien woman did not pause. "We finish them," she said. Elias nodded, realizing that she was right. If they did not act decisively, the intruders would regroup and return with more force. The humans followed her into the final stand. Using the terrain and the crops as shields, they advanced strategically. Traps were set, choke points established, and the invaders were forced into narrow paths where their numbers counted for little. The alien woman fought with her hands and her knowledge of the environment, striking quickly, dodging efficiently, and leading the humans as if she had done this many times before. Elias felt a surge of respect for her. This was no ordinary worker, no ordinary mother. She was a force of nature, and yet, even in battle, her thoughts remained with her children, ensuring they were safe, fed, and calm. He realized that true strength was measured not just in power, but in responsibility and love. By sunset, the field was quiet again. The intruders had retreated, leaving behind only broken equipment and wounded pride. The colony had survived, not through superior weapons, but through unity, cleverness, and the courage of an alien mother who had risked everything for her children. The alien woman returned to the small valley where her children waited. She knelt and embraced them, her face softening as they pressed against her. Elias watched from a distance, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. He had never seen such courage, such dedication. The bond she had with her children and now with the humans was extraordinary. That night the colony gathered to celebrate the harvest. Tables were set with fresh food, fruits, vegetables, and grains that had grown beyond expectation. The alien woman sat quietly, letting others take the praise. But Elias made sure to speak, acknowledging her efforts. Without her, none of this would be possible. She saved not just the harvest, but all of us. She taught us what strength really means. The humans applauded, some with tears in their eyes. And the alien woman, standing in the soft light of the fires, smiled faintly. It was a rare smile, small but genuine, and Elias felt it touch something deep within him. Days turned into weeks, and the colony began to thrive. The alien woman taught the humans new farming techniques, ways to care for the soil, and how to predict weather patterns on Iridian 7. The humans learned quickly, adapting her methods with their own knowledge. Slowly, the barren land transformed into fields of green and gold. Her children grew stronger too, learning from both their mother and the humans. They helped in the fields, their small hands careful but determined. The colony had gained more than crops. They had gained hope, resilience, and a lesson in unity across species. Elias often walked with her in the fields during the evenings, talking quietly. He asked her about her homeworld, about her journey, and about her dreams for her children. She spoke little of herself, but her answers were full of wisdom and careful thought. He realized she was more than a mother and a warrior. She was a teacher, a guide, and a bridge between worlds. As time passed, rumors of her deeds spread to other colonies. People began to travel to Iridian 7 not just for the crops, but to witness the incredible woman who had changed a colony through labor, intelligence, and love. Yet she remained humble, always focused on her children and the land. Fame did not interest her. Survival, care, and teaching did. One day, a new group of alien travelers arrived. Unlike the hostile faction before, they came in peace, curious about the woman who had defied expectations and improved an entire human colony. Elias stood with her, ready to explain, to guide, and to protect. But the alien woman only looked at him, her eyes calm and determined. "We teach them like we teach humans," she said. And so, the colony became a place of learning, growth, and cooperation. Humans and aliens worked side by side, cultivating the harsh land into abundance, sharing knowledge, and building a future that had once seemed impossible. Children of both species played together in the fields, laughing, learning, and growing under the careful eyes of those who had fought for them. Elias often paused to watch the alien woman at work. She moved among the crops with the same quiet power, her children nearby, her presence commanding respect without demanding it. He knew that the legacy she had brought to the colony was more than food or crops. It was courage, resilience, and the proof that even in the most barren places, life could thrive when nurtured with love and determination. And as the sun set, over the golden fields of Iridian 7, Elias understood the greatest lesson of all. Heroes did not always carry weapons, nor did they always fight in battle. Sometimes heroes were those who worked quietly, who loved fiercely, and who refused to give up even when the odds seemed impossible. The alien woman had shown him that, and in doing so, she had changed the fate of an entire colony.